King Charles's health has become the biggest question mark within the British royal family. Recent appearances show a weary, solemn monarch, seemingly carrying private worries that have yet to be spoken aloud. Meanwhile, the royal household is far from peaceful. The long-standing tensions between William and Harry show no signs of healing. In fact, they appear to be growing deeper after a string of turbulent events. Just as speculation about the future of the crown reaches its peak, an unexpected voice breaks the silence. It is the voice of Princess Anne. At the age of 74, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, known for her resilience, discretion, and unwavering loyalty, stunned the entire royal family with a revelation she called the king's final wish. A statement no one saw coming, especially not William and Harry. Why did she choose this moment to speak out? And what exactly did she reveal that left both princes speechless? The answers lie in truths never before made public. Until now, there was no music, no grand announcements, no royal ceremonies unfolding as one might expect in moments of great importance. Instead, there was only silence, a heavy, waiting silence, as if the entire room was holding its breath. Then, breaking through that stillness, came a voice. It was Princess Anne, the woman King Charles has always trusted above all others. But on that day, she did not sound like a princess. Her voice was steady and calm, as though she were delivering the final words of her brother. It was a message that would shake the royal family to its core. At his advanced age, King Charles was no longer the strong, commanding figure the world once knew. Illness had begun to wear him down. Time now seemed to pass more quickly than ever. Yet his mind remained sharp. In those quiet, solitary hours, he made a decision, one that would alter the future of the monarchy. It was not a choice born from love or duty. It was one driven by survival. Charles no longer placed blind faith in tradition or reputation. He did not turn to advisors, nor to his wife Queen Camilla, nor even to Prince William. Instead, he turned to Anne, the one person who never sugarcoated the truth. She had always faced reality head-on. She was known for her blunt, clear-eyed perspective. She spoke plainly. She spoke firmly. And when she spoke this time, no one interrupted. Her message was unmistakable. William would be king. That much was certain. But he would not be handed everything. Charles had devised a different plan, a deeper, more thoughtful one. It was not about power or property. It was about building a royal family that could stand united rather than fall apart. A future where the crown was not a burden for one, but a legacy held together by unity. The light in the room cast shadows on attentive faces. The space was silent except for soft breaths and the rustle of paper. The issue was no longer about birth or lineage, but about the true nature and character deep within each person. Charles saw cracks that could not be hidden within the royal family. Wounded relationships simmering quietly, awkward silences, and irreversible public damages. He tried in every way to mend these ties through his actions. He did not completely turn his back on Prince Harry, but he could not erase the wounds between them either. Instead, Charles placed Harry in a different position, acknowledged but distant. Harry remained part of the royal family, but no longer in the closest circle. This was neither punishment nor simple forgiveness. It was the final protection of what remained. Charles understood the monarchy could not endure another crisis, and from there, a new vision was drawn, a plan to distribute responsibilities more fairly, no longer held by a privileged few. The old notion of a single heir and a designated successor no longer guided the family. This plan was surprising and bold. In the historic room, Princess Anne stood up. She spoke calmly but firmly, conveying the last words from her brother waiting behind closed doors. The truths revealed were hard to hear, even painful to some, but necessary to prevent an inevitable collapse. Anne did not sugarcoat the story. She let the facts stand, heavy and echoing through the space. Silence fell as everyone realized Charles's final wish was not just words. It was a forecast of a fragile, complex, and challenging future. This decision was not new. It originated from a story nearly a century old, when a royal choice once shook the world. Charles had lived in the shadow of that event, fully aware of the fragility of the foundation he bore. After a lifetime waiting for the crown, now that it was on his head, he faced a difficult crossroads, a decision that would shape the monarchy's future. The final plan, delivered through Anne's voice, was the most honest gift he could give the royal family. It was neither gentle nor easy, but it held hope within undeniable truth. Let's look into the strong connection between King Charles and Princess Anne, the special sibling bond. In the world of royalty, strict rules and traditions dictate behavior, making genuine feelings hard to express. However, Princess Anne and King Charles have a close and unique bond that remains hidden within the palace walls. Their connection is not flashy or dramatic, but it is profound, sturdy, and based on mutual respect and comprehension. Princess Anne and King Charles had a unique upbringing. They were born to Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, growing up surrounded by responsibilities and public scrutiny. Before they became known as members of the royal family, they were simply Charles and Anne, siblings who grew up together in Buckingham Palace. From the start, they were very close to each other. With only a 2-year age gap, they spent a lot of time together when they were young. They played, learned, and dealt with the pressure that comes with being born to a monarch. Since their parents were busy with royal duties, Charles and Anne leaned on each other for support, friendship, and enjoyment. Charles, the oldest sibling, was reserved, contemplative, and somewhat hesitant. Anne, on the other hand, was lively, daring, and courageous. Despite their contrasting personalities, they complemented each other well. Anne encouraged Charles to be more outgoing, while Charles provided a sense of stability for Anne. Rather than driving them apart, their differences strengthened their bond. As they aged, their connection became stronger. Unlike many siblings who drift apart as they get older, Charles and Anne remained close. They stood by each other through all the ups and downs of life. Anne felt a deep longing when Charles went off to boarding school. When Anne excelled in equestrian sports and became a top athlete, Charles rooted for her enthusiastically. They never tried to outdo each other. They went their own ways and supported each other's decisions. Princess Anne thought highly of Charles because he was thoughtful and committed to his responsibilities. She noticed how he approached his role with great seriousness, even when he was still young. In return, Charles admired Anne for her strong character, independence, and honesty in expressing her opinions. She didn't try to impress anyone, just did what she believed was right. Charles valued her honesty as something unique and precious. As they settled into their royal duties, they frequently worked together. They stood by each other at royal functions, formal visits, and even in private. Anne was consistently reliable. She comprehended the importance of royal responsibilities and fulfilled them with poise and resilience. Charles relied on her during stressful moments. She didn't have to say a lot. Simply being present was sufficient. Their relationship was not based on extravagant acts or showing off in public. Instead, it was founded on the many years they had spent together having private talks and silently supporting each other. Both of them had witnessed the highs and lows of being royal. They had both dealt with criticism from the public and their personal challenges. Despite everything they had been through, they always had each other. Princess Anne and King Charles have a special bond where they protect and understand each other. Princess Anne has never said anything negative about her brother. Even when times were difficult, she has always supported and respected him. King Charles trusts Anne because he knows she is truthful, devoted, and resilient. He feels at ease when she is around because she brings calmness to their relationship. Their bond became stronger as they got older. As they grew up and had more duties, their connection matured. It wasn't just about their childhood memories anymore. It was about collaborating, looking towards the future as a team, and upholding their parents' legacy. They were not just siblings anymore. They were companions in their responsibilities, joined by shared values and goals. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, It was a difficult time for the entire family. However, for Charles and Anne, it also strengthened their bond. They were grieving the loss of their mother, their queen, and their mentor. In their sadness, they relied on each other more than before. Anne stood by Charles, giving him quiet encouragement and stability. As the new king, Charles needed someone he could rely on completely, and Anne filled that role. She did not try to be the center of attention. She did not desire to be famous. She only wanted to do her job well and help her country. Her modesty and strong loyalty earned her a place as one of Charles's most reliable companions. While others left, Anne stayed consistent, always prioritizing duty. Even as they have gotten older, their relationship remains strong. In fact, it has only grown sweeter over time. They have a deep understanding of each other without needing to speak. A simple smile, glance, or moment of silence can communicate more than words ever could. They have been friends for their entire lives. They have witnessed each other's triumphs and struggles, and their bond has never faltered. Their relationship stands out because it is authentic. In a world where people often put on airs, they show real care for each other. They don't fake being flawless or try to win each other over. Instead, they consistently support one another. Whether it's a formal event, a family get-together, or a time of grief, they are always by each other's side. Their tale is not filled with excitement or major occurrences. Instead, it is a calm and consistent narrative of love, commitment, and empathy. It revolves around maturing together in a society with high hopes, yet always prioritizing the importance of family. It centers on understanding someone so deeply that words are unnecessary. It involves taking on the roles of an older brother and a younger sister. Even as adults with gray hair, King Charles and Princess Anne demonstrate that strong relationships can exist in all levels of society, not just among ordinary people. Their bond is not highlighted in public speeches or news stories, but in their subtle interactions, shared jokes, supportive gestures, and the deep trust that comes from a lifetime of knowing each other. In the royal family, where roles are strict and lives are always on display, it is unusual to see such a genuine and sincere connection. Charles and Anne show us that special bond, a crown passed in gently. When King Edward VIII decided to prioritize love over the throne, it caused unexpected changes in the royal family. The traditional royal world was suddenly unstable. His brother George VI reluctantly became king out of a sense of duty, not ambition. His reign was brief, and his passing left behind a young teenage girl, Elizabeth, who was not trained or prepared to rule. Elizabeth's unexpected ascension to power marked a significant moment. She assumed her position with poise and elegance, ruling for more than 7 decades. Her reign not only set new records, but also influenced the monarchy's future in unforeseen ways. I get the opportunity to meet many Canadians, and that is what has been such a pleasure. From 1952 to 2022, her life exemplified strength, and her leadership became a model of service. However, beneath her composed demeanor was a woman who sacrificed personal desires for her responsibilities. Charles, the oldest son, observed his mother carrying the burden of an entire nation from a young age. He saw the loneliness, high expectations, and melancholy that often accompanied royal life. He noticed that while the world admired his mother's strength, they overlooked her inner struggles. Charles viewed the concept of destiny as bleak and challenging rather than romantic. He believed it came with more sacrifices than rewards. And as time passed, he patiently waited for his journey to unfold. Charles spent a lot of time waiting. Years went by, but he was still not in the spotlight. Things around him changed, but he didn't change much. Everything he did and said was closely watched and scrutinized. Although he had more time compared to other heirs, he didn't have much control over his life. People talked about what would happen to him in the future, judged his decisions, and questioned if he would ever become king. In 2022, Queen Elizabeth II passed away. People around the world were sad about losing a monarch, but Charles was especially sad about losing his mother. With feelings of profound sorrow throughout her life, Her Majesty the Queen, my beloved mother, his grief was strong. It wasn't just about losing a parent. It was about losing the last part of a world that was already changing. When she passed away, a new era started. Charles became king. However, the world he now ruled was very different from the one he grew up in. The royal family was not united. The people's faith in them had decreased. The monarchy seemed unstable, like it could fall apart easily. When Charles began adjusting to his new responsibilities, he got another piece of bad news. He was diagnosed with cancer. King Charles's former communications secretary says that the monarch made his cancer diagnosis public to show that anybody can be affected by the condition. Time suddenly felt limited to him. He was no longer a young prince with lots of time ahead of him. He was now a king with a restricted number of days. This diagnosis changed everything for Charles. It made him see the crown not as a cause of pride, but as something to handle with caution. He recalled the turmoil that occurred when kings passed away unexpectedly or didn't train their successors. He didn't want to make the same mistakes. He didn't want to cause chaos. So every choice he made after that was thoughtful, intentional, and very personal. Charles understood that it was important to not only protect his son William, but also the entire monarchy. Instead of conforming to tradition, he made decisions to ensure the survival of the monarchy. He was willing to make changes if mandated for the monarchy to continue. Charles was focused on creating a new path rather than following the old one. While everyone was paying attention to King Charles, there was another important development taking place secretly. A new influence was gaining strength gradually. William and Kate were not just seen as potential future leaders anymore. They were now seen as the core of the future leadership. Their responsibilities began to change before the public even noticed. Every public appearance, every meeting, every moment captured on camera played a role in a bigger plan. Kate started taking on additional tasks without being asked to because her role as a royal needs it. She began taking charge of projects, greeting important visitors, and going to events by herself. Gradually, she became more involved in her royal duties. Her actions became a cause of inspiration and hope, not through public speeches or media attention, but through her silent commitment. Instead of avoiding the responsibilities of her role, she accepted and embraced them. Unlike others who struggled with being in the public eye, Kate was able to succeed and be admired by both the royal family and the public. Her grace was understated but evident. With Charles's health declining, the need to prepare for the next generation became more pressing. Plans were already in place within Buckingham Palace for King Charles's succession, known as Operation Menai Bridge. Every aspect of the plan was carefully thought out, from informing the Prime Minister to lowering flags and moving Charles's body. The details were practiced numerous times. However, emotions cannot be rehearsed. No amount of planning can fully prepare someone for the moment they have to bear the weight of history. William and Kate are aware that the big moment is approaching. It's no longer far away, but getting closer. Every day they are taking on more responsibilities. While the world sees them as a happy royal couple, attending events and posing for photos, the reality behind palace walls is much more intense. Their lives are now about serving others. Kate's schedule is full of royal duties, but she always keeps her children in her heart. She balances being a public figure with being a mother with calm strength. In many ways, she has lost her freedom, but she has found a new sense of purpose. Her days are no longer hers. They are now dedicated to the crown. Despite this, she stays steady, loving, and quietly strong. Queen Elizabeth even observed her calmness, which has now become crucial for her. When Charles is no longer around, all eyes will turn to William and Kate. People will seek out Kate's composure, her stability, and her inner strength. She will not only stand by the king, but also embody the values of the monarchy. Could this be the reason behind the strained relationship between Harry and his family? Why Prince Harry drifted away from his family? Once upon a time, two young princes walked together through a crowd of people. Their mother, Princess Diana, had recently passed away. Diana, Princess of Wales, has in fact been killed in that car accident in Paris just a few hours ago. That Prince William and Prince Harry, dressed in black suits, stood united. They were now seen as a team. The two brothers were close and connected by love and sorrow. They grew up in the public eye. People supported them, celebrated their weddings, and witnessed their families expanding. However, things started to change between them. The bond between the brothers began to weaken. Prince Harry, once a beloved member of the royal family, decided to step back. He left the palace, moved to another country, and started a new chapter. Many people were left wondering why. What led to such a profound split between them? This royal family feud is not like a fairy tale. It's a very relatable human story. It's about love, responsibilities, family, and pain. It tells the tale of two brothers who used to be inseparable but grew apart due to life taking them on different paths. In order to grasp this division, we must analyze the path Harry has taken. As a child, Harry was considered the spare because William was the heir slated to become the future king. This allowed Harry more freedom, but also put added pressure on him, as he was not expected to rule. Without a defined path to follow, he had to carve out his place. He often felt overshadowed by his brother William, who adhered to royal protocols, while Harry sometimes found it challenging. Despite making mistakes, Harry was adored for his charisma, honesty, and compassion. Everything changed once Harry met Meghan Markle. Meghan, who was a successful American actress, intelligent, independent, biracial, and divorced. The royal family initially seemed happy for Harry as the public celebrated their love and their grand wedding. However, things took a turn for the worse as Meghan faced harsh criticism from the media, with newspapers writing cruel stories and judging her for everything from her background to her appearance and her words. Harry recognized the same hatred that his mother Diana had experienced from the press before her tragic death, as she was chased by photographers. He was determined not to let history repeat itself. Harry believed that the royal family did not support Meghan and should have publicly defended her. The lack of support made him feel isolated, similar to how his mother once felt. As a result, he started distancing himself from the system he grew up in. Behind closed doors, the situation became more tense. Harry and Meghan felt they were treated unfairly compared to William and Kate. They felt excluded and criticized. Arguments arose over trivial matters such as clothing choices and positioning. However, beneath these minor issues were deeper emotions of envy, miscommunication, and intense hurt. Harry's bond with William started to deteriorate. They used to share everything, but now they hardly communicate. William was focused on fulfilling his responsibilities as the future king, adhering to tradition and upholding the royal way of doing things. On the other hand, Harry desired a more liberal approach, seeking greater autonomy, equality, and backing for his spouse. Consequently, the rift between them continued to widen. The media worsened the situation by closely scrutinizing every photo, gesture, and word exchange between Harry and Meghan. The stories were distorted, and headlines emphasized conflicts and disputes. The overwhelming pressure led Harry and Meghan to make the decision to withdraw from their royal responsibilities, announcing they would no longer hold senior roles in the royal family. They relocated to North America, leaving the world in shock as a prince had never before made such a bold move. After relocating, the couple openly discussed their challenges. They revealed how difficult it had been within the palace walls. Meghan discussed her mental well-being, while Harry opened up about feeling confined. Their intention was not to criticize, but to clarify. Despite this, their words caused distress in the UK. The usually reserved royal family was unexpectedly caught in the middle of a controversy. The brothers had a big disagreement, and it was especially hard on them. William was upset and felt betrayed. Harry felt like no one understood him and like he was left alone. Their close bond was now damaged. They had different perspectives on things. William thought duty was most important. Harry prioritized love and protecting others. Both thought they were doing what was right, but in the end, they ended up hurting each other a lot. Although they were far apart, there were times of optimism. After Prince Philip's death, Harry came back to the UK. The siblings were spotted walking side by side following the funeral. Many believe this could be the start of reconciliation. However, healing doesn't happen overnight. The hurts were still raw. They had conversations, but rebuilding trust is a process that takes time. Over time, Harry created a new life for himself by starting a business, hosting shows, and helping others through his charity work. With Meghan, he had 2 children, and they were open about their experiences, even writing books and sharing their story. While some admired their bravery, others believed they were being too outspoken. However, Harry's main focus was always on safeguarding his family, finding inner peace, and recovering from the past. The royal family carried on with their responsibilities. William assumed more duties. He stood next to his father, King Charles III. He concentrated on his work, his family, and his upcoming role as king. However, there was always a sense of sadness, a feeling of something missing, a brother in a distant land. The future of William and Harry is uncertain. They have grown into men and have taken different paths in life. However, they still hold on to the childhood memories they shared and the pain of losing their mother. It is possible that they still have love for each other. Many things can change over time. Strong emotions like anger can mellow. Physical distance can decrease. Forgiveness can heal wounds. Perhaps in the future, the brothers will reconcile and reconnect. Currently, they are living apart, each following their beliefs. This story doesn't focus on taking sides. It's not about determining who was right or wrong. Instead, it's about a family, a royal family, but still a family at its core. This family experiences love, pain, joy, and sadness. They also have deep wounds that require time to heal. At the end of the day, Prince Harry's estrangement from his family wasn't due to just one issue, a royal crack in the making. Prince William was born and grew up knowing he would likely be king one day. He was taught about duty, tradition, and the responsibilities that come with the crown from a young age. However, life doesn't always go as planned, especially for royalty. With his father, King Charles, facing health issues, the timeline for William's ascension to the throne has changed. He must now take on more responsibility sooner than anticipated, leading with courage and urgency. William's actions are not only focused on the present, but also on the future of the monarchy. The royal family is no longer just concerned with ceremonies, but with maintaining their strength, staying relevant, and demonstrating their values to the world. As King Charles's health declines, William is realizing the gravity of his future responsibilities. He is no longer just a prince getting ready for the future, but a leader being influenced by current events. However, William is taking action while his brother, Prince Harry, remains distant, observing. They used to have a close bond growing up, attending royal events and dealing with media attention together. Now, Harry lives in another country, leading a separate life. Despite his efforts to distance himself from the royal family, he is inevitably drawn back into the spotlight due to his father's last requests, the secrecy of the palace, and unresolved past issues. Even when he seeks tranquility, he finds himself embroiled in drama. Harry used to swap living in luxurious royal residences for being able to have more privacy. He decided to relinquish his important roles, titles, and duties within the royal family in order to have more control over his life. However, even though he left behind his royal position, he is still tied to the monarchy through his heritage, history, and name, whether he wants to be or not. Now, as King Charles's health worsens and William gets closer to becoming king, Harry finds himself in a difficult position. He chose to no longer fulfill royal duties, but he is still part of the royal family. Leaving the royal institution didn't mean he was no longer connected to it. This situation is challenging for him as he navigates between freedom and his family's legacy, independence, and his identity. Over the years, Harry has faced difficult decisions. His relationship with the royal family has become tense. The one strong bond he had with his brother has weakened. William and Harry have not had a meaningful conversation in a while. The once close connection between the two brothers has faded away. When Meghan Markle joined the family, problems started to arise. The whole world celebrated their wedding, but inside the palace there was growing tension. Their decision to step back from royal duties, the controversial Oprah interview, and Harry's upcoming memoir all contributed to the widening gap between them. It now seems difficult to mend the rift. What many people don't realize is that Spare might not be the final piece. Those who know Harry well believe there could be additional pages that contain even more profound revelations. There might be a second manuscript in the works with more stunning information that hasn't been shared with the world yet. Unlike the first book, which was influenced by grief and sorrow, this potential second book could be more upfront, impactful, and harmful. Why hasn't Harry shared more if he has more to say? Some think he's hoping to reconcile. Maybe he wants to repair what was damaged. Perhaps he's waiting to see if he can return to his previous life. However, time is not staying the same. The monarchy is evolving quickly, and the opportunity for reconciliation may be diminishing. If the chance for reconciliation does arise again, will anyone be willing to reconcile? Is it possible for Harry to fully reintegrate into royal life under William's leadership? It's a complex situation. Harry is still considered a member of the royal family from a technical standpoint, since his official title has not been taken away. However, being a prince doesn't hold much significance when trust has been broken. William feels that Harry's choices were not only hurtful, but also a form of betrayal. As the future king, William will have the authority to determine Harry's role within the royal family or whether he has a place in it at all. Some people believe that reconciliation and healing between the brothers is still possible, while others are more pessimistic. With each new interview and public statement, Harry seems to distance himself further from the palace. The rift between the brothers has become symbolic of a larger clash between old traditions and modern choices. Now, everyone is focused on William. He is not just getting ready to become king, but also to govern. With this authority, he has the opportunity to change the royal family. Reports suggest that he might remove Harry and Meghan's HRH titles permanently. There will be no more partial royal duties or unclear distinctions. This is not about seeking revenge. William wants to make things clear. He believes in separating those who support the crown from those who do not. The royal family needs to appear strong and unified to the world, which requires eliminating any confusion. There needs to be a clear distinction made between active members of the royal family and those who have stepped back but still hold their royal titles. One specific moment appeared to have solidified William's choice. Meghan shared a post from the Vice President of Ukraine calling her Her Royal Highness, despite her and Harry previously deciding not to use those titles. This action in public reignited past frustrations. Some people thought it was just a minor error, but William disagreed. He believed it was a clear indication that past issues still have a negative impact on the present. This incident served as a warning that without strong boundaries, old wounds can resurface, and he is determined to prevent that from occurring during his time in power. William understands that his reign will be evaluated starting from the very beginning. He needs to be clear and direct without any misunderstandings. If Harry and Meghan are no longer carrying out royal duties, then their titles should show this. This is not about holding a grudge, but rather about showing strong leadership. However, the emotional burden is significant. There are many shared memories and a strong bond developed since childhood behind each title and decision. Also, there is the sadness of a family that used to be close. As William prepares and solidifies his position, there is a quiet change taking place within the palace. As the brothers separate, another important person emerges: Kate, the Princess of Wales. She wasn't born royal, but now plays a key role in the monarchy. Graceful, dependable, And respected by the public, she is seen as a central figure in the future of the royal family. Many think her calm and strong presence is exactly what the institution needs at this time. Where does Harry stand now? He is likely observing from afar, possibly writing something, waiting for a chance to make a big impact on the royal family once more. His future is unclear, and he doesn't have full control over what lies ahead. William is next in line for the throne, and soon he will have the authority to decide what happens next in this family saga. Will Harry come back? Will he stay away? Or will he do something drastic that cuts ties completely? The answer is not easy to predict. However, one thing is certain. The monarchy is evolving. As William emerges from his father's shadow, he is not only preparing to become king, but also shaping a new chapter in the history of the royal family. The decisions he makes today will have long-lasting consequences. The whole world is observing. The leadership position is changing. Two brothers who used to be close allies are now on opposite sides of history. What could this mean for Catherine and William? Let's find out. A future queen and king in the making. In a society where social status is determined by titles and family history, Catherine Middleton stood out for being different. Unlike many others in the royal family, she did not come from a noble background or have prestigious connections. However, she entered the royal family with poise, grace, and self-assurance. Catherine did not seek attention or try to assert her importance. Instead, she carried herself with strength and dignity, ultimately gaining admiration and respect. Catherine wasn't born into royalty, but she had something the royal family often lacked: genuine authenticity. She didn't try to be someone she wasn't just to fit in. Her charm came from being genuine and staying true to herself. In a family where looks often trump honesty, Catherine's honesty and calm demeanor were both refreshing and impactful. Right from the start, her journey was not easy. Some people welcomed her while others felt intimidated. Queen Elizabeth recognized something special in her. She saw the strength, composure, and patience that is expected from a future queen. However, not everyone shared the same opinion. Camilla, the queen consort, viewed her differently. To Camilla et al., Catherine was not just a new addition. She was someone who could potentially disrupt the dynamic of attention and affection within the royal family. Catherine was unique despite having no scandals, mistakes, or controversial past. She didn't need to fake or restart. She didn't have a dramatic life story. She was loved simply for being herself. Her composure, elegance, and grounded nature made her popular. In the palace, her quiet influence was uncommon, but sometimes more impactful than loud rebellion. During the Oprah interview, Meghan Markle said Catherine made her cry, and everyone waited for Catherine's response. However, Catherine decided not to say anything. She didn't give interviews or make any statements. Her silence spoke volumes and showed strength and composure. Rather than defend herself or seek sympathy, Catherine opted for peace and patience, which made her appear untouchable to many observers. Over time, the royal family started experiencing difficulties. Reports of arguments, splits, and obstacles were made known to the public. Despite the pressures faced by many, Catherine remained a silent source of strength. She didn't seek attention or put on a show. Her inner strength was evident. She exemplified true royalty not through assertiveness or loudness, but through calmness and elegance. Her position in the family was not just for show. She had gained the trust of many people in private. People valued her opinions, and she was known for her influential voice. She didn't seek power for her benefit, but her ability to remain calm, listen, and think carefully made others pay attention to her. Even the advisors respected her ideas, even when there was no public scrutiny. Catherine never made an effort to come out on top. She never participated in games or tried to manipulate or fight for attention. She stayed authentic to herself and found strength in that. She redefined what it means to be royal. In a society where crowns and titles don't automatically command respect, Catherine restored a sense of dignity that had been lacking. She demonstrated that true power doesn't always require a position of authority. During King Charles's coronation, Catherine played a significant role that went beyond tradition. Instead of standing behind the king, she stood beside him, symbolizing the future of the monarchy. As Prince William gets ready to become king in the future, Catherine is not just his wife, but also a crucial member of the royal family. She is a mother, a public figure, and a woman who has gracefully handled the attention of the world. Her resilience, her composure, Tommy, and her strong sense of duty have solidified her position as the cornerstone of the monarchy. Whenever there was a crisis, Catherine stayed strong. While others were affected by controversy, she remained steady. Her impact does not stem from her title, but from her character. This quality is what sets her apart and makes her unique. Despite Catherine's resilience, the royal family continues to encounter obstacles. A major issue is the significant rift between Prince William and Prince Harry. Towards the end of his reign, King Charles recognized this tension. He strove for his legacy to be more than just material wealth or influence. He aimed for unity. He was aware that a family divided would undermine all he had worked to safeguard. During private moments away from the public, King Charles expressed his last desire. He didn't want to take away titles or erase anyone from history. His wish was for both of his sons to be included. Despite the trouble Harry caused, Charles recognized the importance of family ties that cannot be broken. He believed in maintaining a connection with Harry, finding a compromise between full reinstatement and complete exclusion. He decided to ask his sister, Princess Anne, to deliver the message because he trusted her completely. Princess Anne was respected by both William and Harry and had stayed strong through difficult times. Her job was not to make demands for reconciliation, but to deliver the message gently. Charles hoped that her strong and fair voice would help begin the healing process, and she carefully fulfilled her role. However, she understood that delivering the message was just the beginning. The acceptance of the message depended on William and Harry. Currently, they appear to be distant. The royal family can organize events and fulfill their duties, but they cannot make the two brothers reconcile. Words cannot erase pain, and trust cannot be restored through a ceremony. King Charles had a desire that has led to new opportunities. Now, back to Madame, Prince William is the one responsible for making decisions about the next steps. People all over the world are paying attention as his destiny approaches. The idea of him being crowned king is no longer just a distant concept. It is a significant event that will not only impact his life, but also influence the future of the royal family. Will William decide to fulfill his father's last wish for reconciliation, or will he opt for a more rigid approach and maintain a distance from Harry? This dilemma is causing great concern within the royal family. Even those with strong ties to the crown are uncertain about the outcome. Rumors within the palace suggest various strategies, hushed discussions, and final opportunities. The relationship between William and Harry remains one of the most complex stories in the history of the British royal family. The ongoing tension between the two brothers is not just a family matter, but also reflects the deeper challenges facing the monarchy. With King Charles's health declining, the future of the throne is becoming clearer, and the king's intentions for succession are beginning to emerge. William is likely to become the next in line, but the road ahead is still filled with challenges that require reconciliation and unity within the royal family. This is not just a story about power, but also a lesson in forgiveness and togetherness. If you are interested in untold secrets and the latest developments in the British royal family, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the exciting videos coming soon.